Who's itches?
Right.
Like Coke I was doing last night.
You putting bricks in somebody's ass?
I don't want to talk to you about any of that.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Misshift Garage. So what we're doing today is a little investigation work.
Yeah, we have to tear it all apart, try to figure out what exactly broke, how much money's got to be spent now.
Oh, yeah.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that
So
part.
that's the next step is to strip it down.
Yep, we gotta determine what the failure was. We're pretty sure it's a rod.
Most likely.
I mean, that's the sound.
That's the sound, and it's the #1 most common thing to break.
Yeah, that or cracked ring lands or broken ring lands. Yep.
Something in general.
That's the next thing. We're gonna tear this thing down, and we're gonna show you guys kind of what we find, and we're gonna start tearing her apart.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Oh, snap.
Holy crap. Look at your pickup tube. Look at the screen on your pickup tube on the inside.
That is just incredible. Oh, wow. Whoa, yeah, spun bearing.
Yep.
Yeah, that is definitely a spun bearing.
So which one?
Well, let's get that
Let's get all this
the shield off, and let's see. Holy crap! What?
I just dropped the bolt somewhere in there.
So I wonder what caused the failure. This is so bad. I think it's safe to say we need a new crank. All the rods are accounted for, that's good. They're all there. Oh, it's so bad. Yuck.
All right, let's try another cylinder real quick.
Yeah, let's see if we've got any others that are bad. So it doesn't feel like
Did I plan that one?
the front one's doing anything.
That one's bad.
It's got a little bit of wiggle to it. That one's not bad. So this guy was getting loose.
So you had one on its way out and one that completely went.
One that is very wiggly.
All right, we have our motor broken down most of the way. We still have the heads on if you haven't noticed. Now you have to be careful when removing the heads because there's a bunch of parts in there that can fall out onto the floor, get damaged, unorganized, all sorts of fun stuff. And we have to pull the cams off first. So to do this, we're actually gonna tip the motor up so that way nothing falls out, and hopefully we can label everything nice and neat and not break anything
Try and
else.
keep everything where it's supposed to be. You know, we'll take the heads apart and then we'll put them back together because we're gonna bring them to the machine shop.
Got it cleaned out.
It's like one big complete unit. Because in a lot of cases, you kind of want, say if you're taking a head apart, you don't want to mismatch valves. You know, you want everything to kind of be specific to where it was originally. So we'll take it apart and do that.
Yep. And label, 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 label.
Yeah, you'll be thanking yourself at the end of the project for that.
All right,
So
let's do this.
Let's take this heads off. Let's tip her up. Why don't we do that side first? right, so we are on to the
Cam removal.
Cam sprocket removal nightmare. So anybody who's ever owned a dual overhead Subaru has probably come in contact with this, since in order to take off the heads, you have to take off the cams. In order to take off the cams, you have to take off the cam sprockets, which is really sucky.
Yes, these bolts are tightened down to 72 foot-pounds from the factory.
Yep.
And they're a pain to get out.
And all because there's a bolt right here holding the plastic on.
Yep.
I think if it wasn't for that, you could probably just slide it all out. They could make it so that you could probably just slide it.
We were able to get one cam gear off using this belt technique, where you tighten it on there as best you can and wrap it around other cogs to help hold it in place.
Yep, exactly. So you're bolting it, or rather you use the crank, and then you're using a vice grip to lock it off here, locking it off nice and tight around the cam gear that you're trying to take off, and that's kind of it's what locking it in place. Yep.
We actually broke a tool though on this one. We shattered our adapter from 1/2 inch to 3/8.
Yep. Which, you know, that's bound to happen. Adapters, it's just one more piece along the line of where the torque is being sent through. So if something's going to be the weak link, I guess this is probably the best thing to be what breaks, because otherwise, you know, this is an Allen head, so that could really easily strip out, and that's not something you want to deal with.
Some people have gotten lucky and used an impact.
Yeah.
We did not get that luck. Your final solution or option is to drill them out, which isn't a bad way to go about it. You just have to be careful where your shavings are falling. If you're going to reuse the block or the head or any of the pulleys, you got to be mindful of that. And it's going to add about $40 to $50 of extra cost because you have to replace the bolts.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So what some of you might be worrying about when you think of drilling these things out is then, okay, I drill them out, how am I going to get the bolt out then afterwards? You know, because yeah, like, is it still going to be locked in there? Am I going to be taking vice grips and trying to twist it or whatever? The funny thing about these is, like, you know, the reason why we torque things down is because we're applying there's an outward pressure that's that happens with the thing that you're bolting down. So in this case, when you're bolting down these gears, the material itself is pushing back out on it, and so that's applying pressure to the seat of the flange bolt. So right in here, there's an outward pressure that's being applied to it. And what happens when you drill these things out is you take the head off, so you relieve all of that pressure. So the bolt literally will just twist right out. Yeah. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, that's the success that people are having. I mean, I haven't heard of these things after you've drilled them out ever being stuck. In our case now, we're probably going to end up doing a little bit of each, a little combination, because I'd rather not drill all of these things out if I can help it.
Yeah, and we have a new socket now, so we're going to try this first.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't budge, we don't want to break any of our tools, so we'll just end up drilling.
Exactly. That's about the only other pieces of advice, and then it's just be really careful and you know, good luck. This is some motors. It's a nightmare. Some of them you bottom line have to drill these things out, and some of them they let go, like this one. Or we've got friends that have had success with impacts.
Yeah, just kind of depends on if it's been taken apart and mileage and all that kind of stuff.
And if the idiot before you over-torqued things or whatever. Yeah. So, okay. Next step for us, we're probably just gonna drill this guy out, probably this one too, because the lower plastic one also wouldn't budge with the impact, but we did have success with this guy, so we might try it on the other aluminum.
Yep, might get lucky.
AVCS pulley. Probably moves on these because there's internal oiling in them. You know, it's Subaru's VTEC system. So there's like these little oil passages. You know, there's probably something to be said about the oil being present in the system that helps keep these from seizing up as bad on the plastics that don't have that. Who knows? Ask a Subaru engineer. And while you're at it, punch them in the balls for setting these things with 72 foot-pounds and not having them on a spline shaft in the first place. So, anyway,
Awesome.
Awesome. We're gonna take it apart.
No, the whole family gets murdered by that fish like 10 minutes in.
No.
Nothing?
No, it's still not. Still not going. So if this thing isn't expensive enough already. I could have 2JZ swapped it for this much.
Or LS swapped it.
Right?
Happy one's out of the way right off the bat. I guess.
Deal with the plastic ones first.
Feel right.
Awesome. So far there's only one that's gonna have to get. Alright, so the shaft on this is in the area of 7/16. It comes out to being 11 millimeters, so grab yourself a 7/16 drill bit, and you don't even have to do a pilot or anything, since the Allen head size is like right about 7/16 or so. So you're going to take off like the little teeth of the Allen head, and you'll just drill through that, and that actually will center it for you. So we're going to do that now. There go the rest of the way. So it's going to want to grab on you. So go slow so you don't break your wrist.
There it goes.
All right. So as you can see, as soon as you take the head off of there, it relieves all of the tension that the bolt is under, and you can just take it right out by hand and then drop it. So there we have it. 7/16 takes it off perfectly. It's just the right size of the shaft. Now at this point, we're ready to take the heads off. Okay, now that we've removed the camshafts out of here, another thing to keep in mind is that the what do you call these on most motors? The lifters, the buttons, the
All different terminology.
yeah, they're probably technically called lifters then. So yeah, the lifters, they if you don't have the motor tipped up like this, if you pull the head off on the side, they're gonna just fall right out. So you don't wanna do that because you wanna keep each one in its specific spot. So make sure you have the motor tipped up like we have it right here, and start by loosening the bolts from the center outward. And that's kind of about it. So we're gonna start by doing that. Oh yeah, and what you're gonna need is a 14 millimeter 12 point. So it's kind of a funky socket. So you'll wanna pick that up ahead of time if you don't already have it. Boy, that came off real nice. Yeah, the hatching's still in it. There's just the smallest amount of scoring. Yeah, we need to melt this down and make pop cans out of it. All right, everybody, so we're at the very end of the episode and just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Yes. So we got the heads off. They're gonna go off to the machine shop, get it all cleaned up. There's metal shavings, who knows where. So that's gonna get taken care of. We do have a new short block, a RA out of a 18 STI.
Yep. Yeah, so the reason we're gonna do a 2018 STI engine is that they have some upgrades in them. The pistons are an improvement over the previous design. So the older models, the 257s, can handle upwards of 350 horsepower. So we figure, well, with the Type RA, it's probably good for at least that or a little bit further beyond.
Yep, and this is a daily, so we're not gonna be pushing a lot of horsepower.
No,
and
but really, you know, these things aren't slow to begin with. So
No.
it's, you know, I mean, close to 300 horsepower should be more than enough.
Just something to have a little bit of fun, but still take the kiddo to school and all that fun jazz.
Exactly. So we're putting a VF52 on it, so that's going to be one of the upgrades. So we're going to try and max that out, make good efficient power, but not enough to wreck everything around it. Because with these things, it's such a domino effect. You start adding power, and then you got to upgrade this thing, and then you got to upgrade that, and then you know, you just end up building the crap out of it, which isn't a bad thing if you want to build a crazy fun track car.
Yep.
But in this case,
it's not worth it in this case.
It's a fun, fast grocery getter. I know we're not going to get all the internet points for this, but we got another build that's coming up that you guys will really like. That's going to be much more, a little more brutal.
A little bit more chaotic.
Horsepower, a lot of fun. So. Once the RA block gets here, we're gonna swap over just the remaining components over to it that are worth retaining, keeping, and we'll clean it up. And
and once that's all done, we'll actually split the case and see what broke for sure.
Yeah, we'll show you guys the aftermath.
You gotta wait a little bit, but we'll show you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning into this episode, and
we'll see you next time.
See you on the flip side. We'll talk about the different methods.
Method man.
And Redman. We're in the movie How High together. Just great. You should have gotten an Emmy.